we go. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, wow. I mean, we don't have coherence. Or do we? No.
There's a coherence measurement, yes, and coherence.
Okay, we have coherence. Okay, because the first thing that I notice is in the main speaker, right where the magic is supposed to happen. Okay, there's this sudden jump in the phase response. Okay, which is inconvenient. So, is there a way to zoom in on that portion of the frequency axis?
You can click and drag anywhere in the graph.
Oh, so I can do this. Okay, so yeah, so here you have that shish kebab, and that throws you a curveball. So if I had to make an educated guess, okay, and ignore that, then so where's the delay? How do we delay, and which one do I delay?
So the delay on the bottom slider is delay, and it's not correctly color coded yet, but it is the sub.
Okay, so this is the sub. Okay, so no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. So I might, if I, not knowing these products, okay, I might be tempted to do this.
And now, as you're moving this around, are you looking at the phase graph, the magnitude graph, or the score?
I'm looking at the phase traces.
Okay.
So I am tempted, to ignore this. Okay.
Yeah, that's something weird.
That's okay. That's
it's unfortunate that it has really good coherence.
Exactly. So I'm looking at this. Okay. This is what I'm, this is the trend that I'm looking at. Okay. Is there a way to because right now we have 0 in the center and plus 180 at the top and negative 180 at the bottom. Is there a way that we can change that?
No, there's no way to currently rotate the phase graph.
Because I suppose that this is the coherence blanking. Yeah, so if I had to make a guess, this would be my initial assumption. Now, where do we see the summation? Is that the dashed line?
So the target is the dashed line. That would be perfect.
And where do we see the end result?
And the end result is the pink line.
The pink line. Mm-hmm. So with that shish kebab in the middle, I do a poor job. Apparently.
Yeah, and this is an interesting one. I actually took this measurement, and at the time I didn't know what to think of it, because if you add lots more delay, you can get a wraparound there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's correct.
Well, you mean if you do something like this? I hear you, but again, not knowing what these traces, it has high coherence, so it could be, yeah.
One of the reasons it has high coherence is because it was a 3 mic average.
If I would see this apparent wraparound in the wild, based on what the rest of the data looks like, I would probably discard that as a reflection. Especially if I have a Polaroid of what the loudspeaker looks like in a near field to overlay. That would allow me to rule out with certainty whether that is a fake wraparound or that's actually what the phase response is supposed to look like. So this is a tricky one, especially if the main response is the average of 3 traces, because that also affects coherence.
Right.
Okay.
Cool. Do you want to try another one? So hit sound check.
Sound check. Okay.
Sound check. That'll store your score. So now you are 98 more experience points away to being head intern.
Okay. So now we do another one.
Yeah.
So this one is interesting. Let me see. So let's look at this. Okay. That would be one way of doing it. Or possibly this would be another way.
I like that you're checking these possibilities, because one of my goals with the score is that you could compare these two and say like, hey, the previous possibility was 9.6 and now you have 9.7.
Well, these loudspeakers, at first glance are not completely phase compliant, okay? Because this gives us a good match over here, okay? Happy with that. That's still within the corridor of 60 degrees, okay? So that would work, which the pink line confirms. So what would be your second alternative? Flip the polarity, okay? There we go, and do this. Now notice that fixes this, which was previously broken. That's now fixed. Now this is broken, okay? And the difference is half a cycle, okay? So if I had to choose the lesser of two evils, and that was a given, then I would go for the previous version. I would go for this, okay? Because the corridor of 60 degrees is your tiebreaker.
Cool. And in this case, the score confirms that you have a slightly higher score on this one.
Exactly. So, but this would for me also be an indication that these loudspeakers out of the gate aren't phase compliant.
Yeah, and
because had they been phase compliant, then red would look like blue, or blue would look like red. Okay, this is fun.
Out.
That's fine. So let me see. So this clearly needs, let me see. Okay. Again, you have this weird shish kebab in your main speaker. Okay, you have this guy that's throwing you a curveball. I might be tempted to do this. Okay, that would be one iteration. Let's try a second iteration, which would be if this was the data and I had to judge a book by its cover, I probably might be tempted to do this. This is probably what I would settle for.
The lesser of two evils.
But is this again one of those where the main speaker is the average of multiple measurements?
Yes, because I did this one. And I know
okay, because I normally, if this was a single microphone, I would expect coherence to do something weird over there, and I would expect coherence to do something weird over there, and I would expect coherence to do something weird over there. Because every time you have such a dramatic deviation of the overall trend, that is what I would expect to see. And this is the picture I would expect to see. Okay, look at that. This looks all good, and this looks all good, and that's all junk. That's trash. That's all trash.
And I should point out that the coherence blanking does affect your score, so it's only going to take into account whatever pink and white lines are left on the magnitude.
So you get more points if you use higher coherence blanking?
Yeah, I mean, you could break the game and just turn the coherence all the way up and get a perfect score.
Okay. That's going to be compelling to some people.
A little bit of an honor system problem here.
So let's see what function 1 and DMB do together. So what am I looking at?
I don't know. Someone else uploaded this. Subwoofer DMB plus subwoofer function 121.
Okay, so these are two different subwoofer models.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well that looks good up to 140 cycles. Oh, I see no reason to mess with that. So this is interesting. Okay, so you need to come out. Okay, you need to come out. There you go. So something like this. Okay, or I always look for second opportunity. Okay, so no. That is also compelling, but the slopes aren't matching. No, I go to my first. If I had to do this, I probably settle for this.
Cool. And going through these, you're still just focusing on the phase graph, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I look upstairs and downstairs, but it's a judgment call in what to ignore and what to to not ignore. So for example, over here, okay, we have this now, and if people use smoothing, is that gonna live in the upload?
Yeah, so this is one of the problems, and I've been trying to tell people before you export from Smart, turn off your smoothing, turn off your coherence blanking, because that affects the data as it's exported.
Yeah, exactly. Because here you have the stop it. So over here you have that, this weird kazizabop, whatever it is, and that's being accompanied by some low coherent stuff, So that's like, okay, that's unexpected. I would probably settle for this.
Okay, cool. Well, Merlin, thank you so much for playing Phase Invaders.
Pew, 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 pew.